2024 has already been a couple of huge months in bringing AAA console and mobile games. And we all know on phones that number only gets bigger. If you're looking for something new to try this week or even better, waiting on the right game, we've got you covered. Here's over 50 new games to pick up on your Android and iOS right now. First things first, after months, in fact years of wait and rumors, Bike Unchained is now finally on both the Google and the App Store and fully releasing globally on February 22nd. Basically less than a week if say you can try it already. The sequel offers two different modes, one of course downhill jumping, now mount jumping. It's a lot of jumping, but the good game promises to have you coming back for more. Moving on to number 2, we've got a brand new game from the famous developers Mobrix. These folks have actually made over 20 big mobile games over the past 6 months. If you should know, hide and seek adventure here is, as obvious the title can suggest, a hide and seek large-scale asymmetrical multiplayer game offering matches of up to 15 players to find one another. The game's got huge potential and already meeting overwhelming scores on both stores. Come next week, Invincible Guarding the Globe is coming out fully on both platforms. Ubisoft officially announced yesterday. Additionally released more in-game footage. The game is an AFK-based idle role-player based on the comic book and animated series of the same name. Besides, Ubisoft promised that its storyline is going to be the game's main focus than anything else. Go ahead and try it on previews if you want. The game is online in nature, and this is how it looks.
Used to be vivid all over.
Crescent Moon, one of the finest developers not just limited to mobiles, has a brand new IP in the making for iOS only going by the name Remortal. First things first, the game is an auto-running obstacle-based roguelike announced more than a year ago for platforms and ever since one of the most unique games on the scene. If you've played Into the Dead games or the Ghost Runner, this game actually has you covered in that area on top of a super well-made atmosphere. Moving on to number 5. Not even sure where this monster showed up from, but we know it's a Korean game in nature. We've got a brand new MMO action RPG idle here simply called Class. Now Class does offer indeed. The game has you covered in 3 distinct and unique character classes to choose from on a thrilling adventure and a huge world to explore. The only problem this is the game is playable online and might get confusing because the English version is still kind of in the works. Not the proudest number 6 we ever had, but to say the least. Driving Masters here is the 4th and new attempt of a racing game making mobile game developers and a parking sim. Technically speaking, there's actually a dozen of new parking sim games that come out on a weekly basis, but this one offers decent gameplay, not only in mechanics but also graphics and content for replay. Free game of course over here, you can go offline in the middle if you want. Game's also less than 100 megabytes in total. It's a good one. Sonic's latest game, Mania Plus, is now finally on Android and iOS via Netflix membership. This time you can choose your own favorite character, like, of course, Sonic himself, Tails, and even Knuckles, and get to play through your child's dream with the character of your own choice. This baby over here plays with a controller, if you've got one, offline entirely, and the whole thing is less than 300 megabytes in total. Coming out fully on February 29 at number 8, we've got Ragnarok Origin Rue. Now first off, it's a brand new Ragnarok game, not a makeover nor an unlocked region. It's actually a sequel to Ragnarok Origin that features an even bigger world to explore, more character optimization options where you can change your character class at any time during the game. And as you can probably tell, better visuals. Try this game on stores, it's in pre-register now, it's online of course, and about 4 gigabytes in total. With a 4 out of 5 and over 50,000 downloads on the Play Store, at number 9, we've got Paco Caravan, which is another work of the same developers who previously made all the Paco games like Paco Highway, Paco Forever 1 and 2. This is an action racing game a bit over challenging for most, but hands down the finest looking cel shaded or low poly game we've come across for months. Very well made, smooth, definitely one of the most addictive games since free. Sitting on the Play Store with almost 1 million downloads on both Google and the App Store. In These Lies, even though has been out for almost 3 years now, is a free and offline game on the Play Store finally. If you do enjoy card building roguelike games, strategy RPGs, you can not go wrong with this one in a single way. It's addictive, rich in replay, and the designs are top notch. For its kind, you can definitely compare it with games as big as Slay the Spire. It's a bit big though, it's about 2 GB in total. If you had a blast, say, playing The Vampire Survivors, well, you might be in for a treat. Wanted Shadows Pocket Edition just made it over to the West on the Apple Store and is now available in pre-register with a full release in about 2 days from now. The game is a bullet hell roguelike survival shooter with a unique style of its own and a heck of a lot of fast action. It's about 1 GB in total and plays both online and offline. Believe it or not, Red Roar Games, the same folks who previously came up with over 3 other Merchant games, just went on and released a brand new entry here going by the name Merchant Guilds, which is actually a sequel to the original game Merchant, offering multiplayer this time, no pay-to-win stuff, and even better pixel arts, much more strategy options as well. It's a tycoon management sim multiplayer that plays offline and takes you about 100 MB in storage. Number 13, we've got an arcade family-friendly action casual game with a 5 out of 5 in rating and over 10,000 downloads since last week. Was simply a game called Starcade, Digital Arcade. Not even gonna exaggerate, it's legitimately the best game in the list as far as details and dedication goes from these developers. It offers a big pool of arcade and minigames, daily rewards, super cute characters and avatars, and for some weird reason it's a free game too with no pay-to-win stuff. It's 150 MB in total. With almost 100,000 downloads since last week, Trench Warfare 1917 is now on the Google and the App Store with offline play. We have reason to believe it's probably the most addicting game in pace in today's list, and no matter where you're looking for the long run or just a short dopamine rush or something to spend a few hours with, the game has you covered with the dopest pool of weapons, tanks, on top of super well-made mechanics. A free game, about 200 MB in total. If you're looking for a Rumble-style battle arena game, you are looking at over here possibly the best of them all, recently released. Rumble Beans is a 4-player PvP online multiplayer that kind of works like an auto chess game, and you have to fight with vegetables. Family-friendly game, what do you expect? Which is, if you're what you're looking for, it's got pretty good characters to maneuver around, online, and 150 MB in total. Yeah. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Not only we had Sonic Mania Plus this week via Netflix membership, we forgot to mention we played Pinball Masters, which is basically the PC game Pinball FX, remodeled just a bit and overhauled for mobiles. It's a decent pinball game that could potentially have you covered for a few days, but then of course it's a repetitive game for the long run, yet there's many better free pinball games you can have months of fun playing on the Player Store. It's a 6 out of 10.
The symbol of hope is now.
Released just yesterday and already downloaded over 1,000 times, not to mention, this is the second work of a really good developer. Solaria Dawn of Heroes is simply an action RPG with idle game elements and made to feel like an open role game where every move can have an outcome on your adventure. It's a free game, about 700 MB in total, plays both online and offline on both Google and the App Store. And last but not least, although this has been around for almost a whole year, Dungeon Faster is sitting on both stores with almost 1 million downloads as a free game today, and a huge update to bring new players around. The game is a single-player turn-based card battler playable offline right now, and actually the number 3 best and highest rated card game on the Play Store. Have fun.